Hello, beautiful souls. Victoria here from Soul Healing Tribe and the Awakening the Healer Within Training Program.com. Today, I want to talk to you about ETs, implants, things that you will want to know that we look for in regards to potential issues that people may have to know if they have potentially an implant issue. Now, implants are not something that we find often in sessions because normally the person has to have the consciousness that this is possible for them to be open to it. If they're not open to it, we can go around in circles for many hours trying to look for them because the person has to be willing to allow that to happen. If the person is not willing, they might think and may express them in a way that they don't understand if they're there for their benefit or no. So sometimes people will say, oh no, it's there because the program is governing a program that is supposed to keep me to do this and do that, but in reality it's there for something else. But the person has to be willing to allow themselves to investigate, because if they close themselves to the investigation, they will not be able to process what is the purpose of the implants, why are they there, how are they affecting them in their physical, mental, emotional, spiritual levels. So what happens sometimes is that the clients themselves feel like if they allow that to happen, everything can come crumbling down. And that can be very painful and may take several sessions for the clients to get to the point where they're willing to investigate further. Just to investigate. We're not trying to say that every implant is negative. What we're trying to say is that if there is an implant, we need to figure out what is the origin of the implant, what is the origin of when that implant was put there and that relationship started with those beings. So some of the things that we look for, it could be nightmares and dreams with different type of entities, monsters, little people, fairies, whatever it may be. These ET, especially the ones that are that have an agenda, they will make themselves look the way that is easier for the person to receive them. So they will not always look the same. Depending on the person consciousness, they might put themselves in little bodies, big bodies, monsters, little animals, big animals, as people, disembodied energies, or even as your grandparents, parents, loved ones that have transitioned. So we are looking for childhood, infancy years where there was trauma with dreams and nightmares, or seeing or having invisible friends. We are also looking for the nightmares because a lot of we instantly could understand how the body reacts to, is it a threat or no? And sometimes our fear gets in the way of that. So it's not always necessarily that because we feel it's a threat, but what happens sometimes, most of the time, we're going to feel like we are afraid because something within us is reacting to the unknown, right? So we're looking for dreams, nightmare, invisible friends. We're looking for visions of monsters in the house or outside of the house, or when we're outside. We're looking for very intense bright lights in the bedroom, especially when we're sleeping. Maybe even, obviously, definitely sleep paralysis, but even seeing the grid, the matrix, even seeing lines and different symbols. People that are afraid of needles, and to the point where they start panicking, they may be, that might be something that has to do with ET implants if it's not a medical issue already identified. Fear of being in hospitals, in surgery rooms, or just feeling like if even going to the hospital is too much, because it might remind them unconsciously of the time when they were in the spaceship. So what else? Feeling like there is always something around at specific times, or when you are trying to wake up from your sleep, but you feel like something is off, or you're going to sleep, but something is off, just feeling like somebody may be punching or pinching you in different parts of your body, having abortions without medical, evidence that something was wrong. So spontaneous abortions may be part of this. Sometimes miracles may be part of this too, if you're dealing with positive ETs where they're healing you, right? Not everything has to be negative, guys. I think I tried to express that the best way I can over the last few videos, but just as a reminder, seeing different spots or needle areas in your face or body, or punches or marks that you don't understand, that don't have any explication, missing time, 10-15 minutes, and you don't know what happened, feeling a lot of anxiety sometimes, just because you feel like something is going to happen, but you don't know what's going to happen, or feeling like you have to do something, but you don't know what you have to do, or seeing the spaceships or the lights in the sky, and they're only blinking to you and nobody else can see them, or other can see them, and you are completely like, whoa. So you might be part of the group that is being adopted, right? Just when you hear of the ETs and feeling fear without knowing where that's coming from, that could also be part of the reason for your body reacting to potentially being one of the adoptees, or having experiences with ETs, or having implants. So the implants, we are looking for some of these things because only we will address that in a session if the person has done the sessions, they have gone through past life, childhood regression, wound regression, and still the issue persists. Then that's when we go into the ET sessions, because we're like, oh, something is off here. And normally what happens is that, for example, you could have 3 sessions and no ideas or things came out with ETs, and then you go into a 4th session or a 5th session, and the ETs come. You realize that, oh shoot, this is something crazy, because I'm allowing myself the opportunity to investigate what's going on. And when you allow yourself, we sometimes find the implants, and then the person will see a significant change after those sessions, where, I had clients that will test me, my cough is gone. I don't have a cough anymore. This is crazy. I had this cough for years, and now this cough is gone. Or somebody else that had stomach pain, so much so every day. And then they go through a session and it's like, it's gone. Like within a couple of days, it's gone, or immediately. And they're in disbelief that this is possible, because they didn't believe in ETs to begin with. And they didn't believe that they were the type of people that would be implanted. It's hard for us to think, I could be one of the implanted ones. So what do these people, these beings want when they implant us, is that a lot of the time they're going to want our energy, because we have light energy that is life force, and some of these ETs do not have that. So it's a source of energy for them. So to them it's very valuable, and to us, we don't know any better. So sometimes the curiosity allows us to enter into a relationship with these beings, because of the curiosity that we have about, are they real? Can they really be real? And sometimes what happened, I had a client where she was having a lot of uterus pain. And when she was in her session, she was in disbelief that she was having a lot of her eggs removed for the ETs to do whatever they needed to do with them. This thing sounds like sci-fi, so it's not something that I normally talk a lot about in here, based on what my clients are experiencing and so on, because only a percentage of them will allow themselves to investigate and go along with the questions that I'm asking, to understand if there is something there. Sometimes if they know where I'm going, they will run away the other way so that they don't have to deal with the implant. So, because then a lot of things a lot of beliefs will crash, right? That will burn down. So who am I then if I don't believe anymore in what I used to believe? So it can become very confusing time for people to allow themselves to experience this. But and I have so many sessions where I could put online. Obviously, I will have to get the permission, but I don't, because it's like people really have to be ready for this. So I think I'm going to start talking a little more about the implants, the ETs, and because for people that don't have, they have medical, they have gone to doctors, they have done work, they have done CT scans, MRIs, and stuff like that, and the pain continues, the problem continues. And then they do they do a session and ET implants come on, and we work on releasing them and deactivating them. And then they feel better. And it's like magic. And it's like, whoa, I cannot believe this is actually possible. So I'm going to allow myself the opportunity to talk about these ETs implants more often in the channel. It's not something that I normally do because it's like, I think a lot of people will lose respect to if they don't understand what I'm saying. They might think I'm crazy, but I have to get over that because so many clients are confirming what I know, and to the point where this is like, people before didn't believe in spirits and now they believe. So eventually we're going to get to the point where people didn't believe in ET implants, and then they're going to believe because the evidence is going to be out there anyways, especially if you're in this spiritual awakening. And if you're listening to me, you probably are. So you might as well get comfortable with the idea that I will be talking more about ET implants and what that means, and how we find them, why we find them, why we deactivate them, how do we remove the consent? Because if you have the implants, it's because at one point in time, whether in this life or another life, you provided consent for this to be done. So we're going to be spending more time on that. And for the meantime, I'm going to leave it here. I gave you a list of ideas to identify, is this happening to me potentially? Like people that have a lot of nosebleeds, they may be, if you don't have a medical answer, it may be because ET implants, and even with the medical answer, it may be because of the ET implants, because a lot of the implants go through the nose and they come down the throat to infuse different liquids and stuff. So people will have distortions in the nostrils and the throat and the stomach, and bleeding and anal bleeding. And I mean, the whole thing is like, it's sci-fi to the max. But the good thing is that when we are done with the implants, people tend to feel really good. And unless you do something to allow new implants to come in, you can consider that to be done. It is a process just like spirit releasement therapy, because with the ET implants, we also do several sessions to make sure that we cover that up properly, that we did the work properly, effectively. But it's fascinating. I love it. And I think the potentials are crazy, because when and not everybody's going to have them, but whoever has them and we find them, when we work on them, the results are freaking amazing. So anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you. Thank you for being